gingerly. Sorry, I'm adjusting my watch. He was at least able to move under his own steam, and he was out the car, and he was able to respond on the team radio. So certainly from my perspective, that's a relief.
Yeah, that's the positives that we can take out from it.
Yeah,
absolutely. I had chills when I saw that. When I didn't, before I knew he was moving, I was thinking, oh no, because we've had some injuries there in the W series. There
was a horrendous crash in the W series.
Yeah, I saw that, and I braced when I saw it. I braced for impact because I just didn't see all those cars coming up, because you don't see them until they're there, at the top of the hill. So
I must say that the TV direction in the W series, because I watched the live stream from Channel 4 back.
I watched it as well.
They see the two cars going off up the hill, and then they don't actually show anything else.
They were really good.
They do that quite often when they think it's going to be a nasty, potentially awful to say, but potentially a fatal accident. They usually do that, but thank God it wasn't.
Yeah. Well, one thing I noticed when I was watching the Sky Coat, I'm still watching it now on the screen, so if I keep looking away, that's what I'm doing. I'm not being rude.
I've got mine up here as well.
I think we've all got them. Yeah, we've all got professionals.
Yeah. Sorry, like that. But one thing I noticed was when it showed replays of drivers and what have you, Leclerc looked like he'd seen a ghost. Did you see?
Yeah.
Because obviously we think about it was this weekend, it was this day 2 years ago that obviously we lost Hubert.
Oh,
and
goodness me.
Yeah, and I think that would have sent chills down Leclerc. Oh, God. I don't know how far in your coverage is, but at the minute I can see the rain coming down above the Red Bull pit wall. It is torrential.
I'm looking at Bernd Malander. He's about to go into the pits, and it looks nowhere near. It looks far wetter than when they red flagged it for Norris's crash.
God, yeah.
I think I'm ahead of you two because I'm looking at Hamilton.
Okay.
But my iPad is connected to the Sky Q box downstairs.
Ooh.
Oh, right.
They're watching it downstairs.
Instant.
So,
yeah.
About a 1 second delay.
Beautiful. Yeah, I'm currently looking at Angela, who has got a hand on Hamilton's car, and now I'm looking at Hamilton, and his name things just come up.
I've not seen Hamilton yet. I'm looking at Red Bull in the pits, Red Bull in the garage.
And Bernd Malander still going around, and
it's too wet. It's simply too wet.
2007 vibes.
Yeah.
This reminds me of was it Nürburgring 2007 when everybody went off and
turn one was a swimming pool.
Yeah, who was the Spiker driver who ended up leading?
Winkelhock.
Marcus Winkelhock. That's it. Yeah.
Hamilton was stuck in the gravel, and Button was there. There was a Toro Rosso that nearly went under the tractor.
Yeah.
Hamilton somehow kept his car going, and when the crane got him out, he just drove off.
Yeah. Fun fact: he's the last man to be craned back onto the track and then allowed to rejoin.
Just holding the clutch for dear life. Yeah.
Yeah, because they've never done it again since. Once you're in the gravel, they don't put you back on the track. You've got to get out.
Oh, I never knew that.
Stops them bringing the tractor on and risking someone going under it.
Well, and especially if we look at obviously the Bianchi incident.
Exactly.
From obviously that was 7 years later. It was 2014. But oh God, yeah. Right. Well, currently my land is still going around. I've seen
barely see him.
I've seen less spray out the back of an aeroplane.
Yeah, it's bad. It's very bad.
Well, yeah, my lander just twitched coming into
Pouon.
That is Pouon, yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say it, but I wasn't sure.
He's at the bus stop now for me.
Yeah.
Not to pick me up, but just.
Yeah, I was going to say.
You're at least a minute ahead, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're coming to you for if we do get going, and we're looking for results because you're way ahead of me and Tom.
Oh, we've got a go-karter still going around on a go-kart track next to the track. Wow.
Starting young and all that.
It's down. They're saying it's down by Stavila. Yeah, it's just on the inside of the circuit. It's soaking wet. One of them's in the gravel. He's stuck. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So it's going to be really odd. This.
My lander's just come in. I'm just going to turn the volume up just in case you can hear anything.
Right, this is going to be really odd. So forgive me if I'm a bit flustered with it all, but let's get going if you're ready, lads.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. Wet weather has caused several delays to the qualifying session today in Spa. So for the first time ever, we're going out before the session actually finishes. Welcome back to the Grid Talk podcast, everybody. This is episode number 128, where we'll be analysing qualifying for the 2021 Belgian Grand Prix. I'm your host, George Howson, and joining me today are Tom Downey from the Efon Podcast.
Afternoon.
And Aaron Harper from the 5 Red Lights Podcast.
Howdy, lads.
Right, lads. So as we speak right now, the qualifying session hasn't finished in Spa yet. Several delays for rain, and obviously a very, very nasty crash for Lando Norris. I think it's best to mention that. We're currently in Q3, but the session was stopped when Lando Norris had a horrific crash at Radion at the top of Eau Rouge. Thankfully, he's walked away from it, Tom. And according to some people at the track at the moment, as it stands, Lando Norris might get pole position if they don't restart.
Yeah, not probably quite how he envisaged getting his first pole, if this is how it's going to pan out. And in this session, Norris has been he's just been sensational today. He's topped both timing sessions. I mean, we've always known how good a driver he is, but I did not expect him to be this good today. You know, we've talked all season about how good Lando is, and it goes without saying that, you know, this accident, you know, we were talking before we started recording this, that it made me feel absolutely sick to my stomach seeing it. It's the same corner. Granted, circumstances are different, but it's the same corner. His car, if I counted it correctly, I was talking to Tiller about this earlier in the EF1 chat. He's done 5.5 rotations just after he's hit the wall.
God, I got dizzy just watching the replay, I'll be honest.
Yeah, I'm watching the replay now because Sky is showing it, and it's just sickening. But
yeah, I can't even look at that. That's very lucky, man.
Yeah, but the good news is Lando is okay. I've just seen on the replay he gave Vettel a thumbs up as Vettel stopped when he came past him, and obviously we've seen that he's into the medical centre.
Yeah, massive kudos to Sebastian Vettel as well. He was calling for the session to be red flagged. I think Lando Norris was suggesting it on the radio. He was saying, yeah, there's a bit of aquaplaning happening here. It's just horrible to see, really, because, you know, I think Michael Massey's come under a lot of pressure, and I think rightfully so. I think he's going to come under some more after this, Aaron, because Vettel said in no uncertain terms, we have to stop this, we have to red flag, and lo and behold, we had an awful crash in the wet.
Yeah. And we should never shy away from the fact that every crash is dangerous, but these cars are probably the safest they've ever been. And if you think back through the years, there's been so many accidents at Eau Rouge. I remember in '99 where Villeneuve and Zonta both crashed in qualifying for BAR, both writing off their cars. And Lando's was a bit like Zonta's there, instead that he didn't quite roll over. But that is the risk with that corner, even in the dry. For me, I don't think it was aquaplaning that caused that accident. I think he just got a bit wide through the right-hand part, because I think if he'd aquaplaned, he might have gone a bit earlier. I mean, obviously, I'm not a professional racing driver, so that's just speculation. But as you say, Michael Massey will probably come under a little bit of fire for that. He could have red flagged sooner. You're looking at the conditions, and considering what happened yesterday in the W Series, I was always wondering whether Lando was going to come out facing the right way. Unfortunately, he didn't. It's a tough decision for the race director. You know, Charlie Whiting, I don't think he always got it right, but he did a very good job of minimizing the risk. And that's what Michael Massey has come under fire for, is not completely minimizing the risk. And this one is one that he may have got away with.
Yeah, that's very true. You could say that he's got away with it. It's a horrible job in a way, because it's, you know, it's thankless. You know, you stop the session and nothing happens because of that. People complain that you stopped the session too early. You don't stop the session and you risk a massive accident like that. And that's exactly what's happened. I didn't agree with everything that Charlie Whiting did. God bless his soul. But, you know, looking back on it now, I think he was right to be as cautious as he was at times, because particularly in qualifying when they're going absolutely 110% around every corner, one mistake, you're in the wall, and it could be at nearly 200 miles an hour. So, yeah, and it's a very good point as well that you raised about the women as well in the W Series. I think 2 women have been hospitalised because of that crash, but I think they're out now. I think it was Alice Powell and someone else, but yeah, thankfully I think they're okay, which is the main thing. But yeah, Eau Rouge is a controversial corner to say the least. It's one of our favourites, but it's also the home of some horrible accidents, especially in recent years. But yeah, so we don't have a top 10 officially yet. So what we'll do, we'll go the opposite way. We'll start from the bottom and go to the top. So let's start with the Haas cars. Mick Schumacher 18th, Nikita Mazepin 20th. I mean, despite the wet weather, Tom, it can't really help them enough. They're still the slowest car on the grid. And I mean, at least Mick Schumacher beat Kimi Räikkönen. That's something you could say.
Yeah. To be honest, I didn't think the wet weather was going to help them at all. I thought, if anything, all it was going to do was going to exacerbate the difference between the Haas cars and all the other cars. Schumacher. I mean, he did well to beat Kimi, because we know how good Kimi has been in the past. But I think Kimi has mentally checked out. There are a lot of rumours swirling around an announcement next week at Monza, which I heard earlier. But yeah, the Haas, they've done what they could. I mean, 18th and 20th. Yeah, there's not really much more to add, is there? It's just, I suppose, the only other thing to say, lovely touch from Schumacher Jr. to have a helmet that's got homage to the one from his father from 30 years ago. He obviously had his F1 debut this weekend for Jordan.
Yeah, beautiful helmet that Mick's driving with this weekend. Unfortunately, he's going to be at the back of the field most likely while he's driving around with it. But yeah, this is not a track that would suit the Ferrari power cars. All the Ferrari power teams have struggled this weekend, and that includes Alfa Romeo as well. Aaron, Antonio Giovinazzi in 16th, Kimi Räikkönen in 19th, both out in Q1. But again, not really a huge surprise that's happened.
No, and just before I touch on that, I think I correctly predicted that Schumacher would out-qualify something that wasn't a Haas.
Yeah, there you go. Your bold prediction's spot on.
Yeah. So I've knocked that one out of the park. So Raikkonen ended up 19th, half a second ahead of Mazepin, half a second down on Mick Schumacher. But he did have the brake failure in FP3, which I think, even for a driver of Kimi's quality, will knock your confidence. We've got a...
Yeah, I was going to say, sorry to interrupt. Q3 is going to be resumed at 16:45 local time, so that is in 3 minutes.
Yep.
Okay.
Sorry to jump in and come.
No, you do right,
Aaron.
Right. We're on a developing story, but yeah, keep going, Aaron.
Sorry, Aaron.
That's all right. So yeah, I think Kimi's, even for a man of his experience, his confidence was knocked, and the balance of the car probably wasn't quite right. And like you say, George is probably mentally checked out. So for Giovinazzi, that's a strong performance. He was top of the guys who got dropped out at Q1, and he beat Tsunoda, which I'm not sure if I'm impressed by Giovinazzi or disappointed in Tsunoda in that, because Japanese drivers tend to be fairly good in the wet, and Giovinazzi tends to always get knocked out in Q1, so he's kind of about par there. I mean, it doesn't really hammer home any more enforcement for keeping him in the seat, but you know, he can only beat what he's up against, and that's an aging Kimi Räikkönen who may or may not be interested in his hobby anymore. But yeah, the Alfa Romeo is what it is, and that's the most that he could probably get out of it.
Yeah, I think they've done all they can, to be fair. And like you say, it's very disappointing for Yuki Tsunoda, Tom. I mean, I think as Martin Brundle was saying that Japanese drivers are usually good in the wet, Tsunoda failed to get out of Q1. Very disappointing for him. I mean, obviously, it's a long race tomorrow. I think the AlphaTauri will be a good car. I think it'll be good down the straights with that Honda engine in the back. But starting 17th, it doesn't fill you with confidence.
Nah. I expected more from Tsunoda this weekend, and especially in the pressure cooker environment that is the Red Bull Junior program. He's got to do better. Sorry, my browser's going nuts. Just going to mute that. It's all F1 notifications. I expected more from Tsunoda. I appreciate it's his first year in F1. And I've said before that perhaps I thought he came in a little bit before he was ready. And if you look at where Danny Kvyat was when they got rid of him, Kvyat was actually on a roll last year. He's beginning to beat Gasly, and we know how good Gasly is. Excuse me. But Tsunoda is going to be a difficult race for him. I don't know how many times he's raced around Spa in the past. Obviously in F2, F3, and then perhaps some of the junior series. I don't have the information to hand.
Well, he won in the F2 last year, so he should be good.
Oh, of course he did. Yeah, but and it's not like the AlphaTauri is a bad car, and it's got a good power unit behind it. So he needs to impress tomorrow. He needs to get out there, and he needs to prove why he's been put in that car.
Yeah, the guy has serious talent, he has serious speed, but he doesn't show it sometimes. I think he probably pushed too hard. He seemed to have a few lockups into the bus stop chicane, went wide because of it. That's cost him a lot of time. Could have cost him a place in Q2. So I said that Nikita Mazepin is the guy the guy who's last in qualifying, but the guy who will line up at the back of the grid tomorrow will be Lance Stroll. He qualified in 15th. He's got a 5-place grid penalty for his incident in Hungary. So yeah, not a good weekend again for him, Aaron, because his teammates made it into Q3.
Yeah, I think there was a bit of a mix-up on his run strategy and the timings of it, because there was the radio message that was mostly bleeps from Lance, and of course his.
I just heard that in the distance, and all I heard was boo. I was just like, what the hell's that?
That was Lance Stroll, and then very closely followed by his
race engineer,
always fed up engineer Bradley.
Yeah. Come on, Brad, say it.
I tweeted before the session, and I kind of thought Lance would be up there. He's one of those that excels in the wet, and then to be stuck in 15th and then with the penalty last on the grid it's not really representative of his talent in the wet. But then if it's a wet race, he's got lots of opportunity to come through and shine.
Yeah, rain is predicted for tomorrow as well. It should be similar kind of conditions to what we've had today. So you never know. He could come through. He did very well in Turkey last year and Germany a couple of years ago as well. He's very good in the wet, is Lance Stroll. Another guy who usually does quite well in the wet is Fandor Alonzo. And it's not his race number where he's lining up. He is P14, Tom. And yeah, his teammate is going to be riding the wave of success from his win in Hungary. But I'm very surprised to see Fernando so far down.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised to see Fernando that far down the grid as well. Out-qualified again by Ocon, who is out in Q3 as we speak. Yeah, I was disappointed to see Fernando not get into the top 10, because he's really sort of, after he sort of had the first few races of the season where he sort of settled back in, from about Baku onwards, he really started taking strides forward again. And then obviously he had such a good weekend at Baku and playing the team role as well. Yeah, it's disappointing not seeing him in the top 10. But depending on how conditions are tomorrow, if he gets a free choice of tyres, we all know how good he is off a start. He might end up sort of like making waves at the start of the race and have a good early first stint. We will see.
We will see, yeah. It's not his best track, Alonso. I said in the preview that he's never won here in Formula One, which is a real anomaly for him, because I think the amount of times he's raced here, something like 20 times or whatever, he's never won. Also disappointing were Ferrari, both of them out in Q2. Aaron, Charles Leclerc in 11th, Carlos Sainz in 13th, but it's not the drivers. It's just a general lack of pace in the car and the engine, really.
Yeah, I mean, I was quite surprised to see both of them out. I kind of expected at least one of them to be in Q3. In fairness to Sainz, he was purple quite often in Sector 1, but I think that's where Ferrari have gone, because they know that their engine doesn't have quite the top speed of the Honda power unit or the Mercedes power unit. They've had to sacrifice some downforce, and in the wet, that seems to have caught them out a little bit and dropped them behind a couple of cars that perhaps they shouldn't normally be behind. And I was kind of surprised about Carlos being only 13th and out-qualified by a Williams, because he's generally another one that goes quite well in the wet. And it may simply, because the track is so big and so long, it's like nearly 2-minute lap times in the wet. Just the timings were wrong. They went a little bit too early, Charles Leclerc said, on their first run, so they would out of sync with everybody else. And that is something you have to master in a wet qualifying session. You have to time your run to perfection.
Ferrari getting the strategy wrong. Where have we seen that before? In fact, Carlos Sainz got beat by both Williams cars because George Russell, as we speak, is out racing in trying to qualify in Q3. But fair play to Nicholas Latifi, Tom. 12th place.
Yeah.
I mean, Williams, they probably nailed the setup, to be fair, but still, the drivers have done an excellent job this weekend.
Yeah. Again, I've been pretty damn impressed with Latifi. I know obviously he comes with a loss of backing, but now that he's been settled into that team for another year, I feel like I'm repeating myself a bit compared to what I said with other drivers, but he is a lot more settled in that team. And he's proving to be a good, solid, consistent driver. Not going to set the world on fire, but he has done well. And he got that car into Q3. And Williams, yes, helped with having a masterstroke by putting them onto the Inters, but they judged the situation properly. And yeah, Latifi's done really well. As I say that, Hamilton's just done a 2:01.5 for provisional pole, and Verstappen is 0.9 behind him in second.
Yeah, and Bottas looking a long way slower as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, Hamilton in very good in the wet conditions. Still about 3 minutes to go in that one as we speak. I don't think we've run through the guys that are in Q3. Obviously, Lando Norris, he will line up 10th because he's the only guy who's not taking part out of that top 10. The other guys are George Russell, Esteban Ocon, Daniel Ricardo, Sergio Perez, Pierre Gasly, Sebastian Vettel, Valtteri Bottas, Max Verstappen, and Sir Lewis Hamilton. And Hamilton on provisional pole at the moment. So I guess we should talk a little bit about maybe George Russell, because no matter where he ends up in this top 10, Aaron, he's done an amazing job. And if he starts in the top 10, if it's wet conditions, he could well get points again.
Yeah, I'm glad you come to me for George, because I've got the older 63 top on today.
He knew it this weekend.
There it is.
I mean, to get the Williams into Q3, they pulled a little bit of a masterstroke in Q1 going out on the Inters. So they gave the drivers a chance to acclimatise to the conditions on that tyre, because the full wet and the Inter do handle quite differently. They give the extra ride height, and they warm up differently. So Williams, to pull that smart move, gave their drivers great opportunity to go out and nail the final laps. I think they finished the first session in the top 10, the pair of them.
Yeah.
So that was very, very impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very impressive.
He's got another string to his bow. Another reason. It's just another string to his bow. And it's just something else, another reason for Mercedes to put him alongside Sir Lewis Hamilton next year.
Yeah, absolutely. George Russell showing his real talent in the wet. 2 minutes to go now in the session. Hamilton still in provisional pole. Verstappen alongside him on the front row. And Bottas in third place. Fair play to him, he's doing well. Sergio Perez, though, struggling. 6th place. But a lot can happen between now and then. A lot can happen because the drivers are really just jockeying for position, trying to get the optimum place, really, to be the last man across the line. It's going to be fascinating.
I'm about a minute ahead of you guys.
I was going to say, because
someone unexpected has gone purple in the first sector.
Ooh, you can say it's all right.
Perez has gone second.
George Russell is fastest in the first sector.
Shut up.
No.
Shut up.
Get that man in the Mercedes.
I'm trying really hard not to swear here.
He's coming towards the middle sector.
Oh my word. Okay, this might be a bit of an unorthodox podcast for our listeners. Just let us revel in this moment.
Purple in the first sector and purple in the middle sector.
Oh my God.
It's evolved into a live bomb now.
Mom, get a camera.
No. Right, I'm
okay,
he's no longer off because you guys are ahead of me anyway.
Yeah.
George is flying.
He is absolute. Oh my Lord.
Is anybody going faster than him?
Nope.
Someone else has gone faster in the middle sector. He's still fastest first sector.
If it's who I think it is in the middle
I
sector.
I won't ruin everything now. So I'll let you guys catch up.
I can't catch up. You guys, you're directly connected to your skybox. I am not. I'm just on my phone.
Oh my gosh! What is happening?
I'm not.
What is happening?
I'm on Now TV.
What is happening?
Is this a glitch in the Matrix?
Is this happening?
If he pulls this off, Russell, this is one of the biggest surprise polls ever.
I'm going to turn the commentary on for this. Oh my,
Oh,
good.
oh, he's done it. Oh my God.
Oh my, no. What?
It's just a delayed reaction.
What is happening?
Yeah.
Hang on.
That is incredible.
Verstappen's coming round.
Still time, but oh my days, could this happen? You guys are way ahead of me. I'll let you commentate on this as it happens.
Someone just gone incredibly to fourth place.
Oh my God.
This is ridiculous.
What on earth? Oh my.
George Russell's literally just gone pole now for me. That's how far I'm behind.
What on earth? Oh, I got goosebumps.
Could this be the first pole for Williams since
My phone is going completely
Maldonado in 2012 in
Spain?
And even that was on a fuel technicality. This is legit pace. Wow, that's massive. I can see why you guys are going, man. George Russell went 1.4 seconds faster than anybody. Hamilton can't beat Russell.
Hamilton doesn't beat him.
Perez can't beat Russell. Oh my God. I think Carl's just spoiled it for us in the chat. Cheers, Carl.
No.
Bottas fourth. Vettel moves up to third. He goes ahead of Perez and Bottas. I'm sure you guys have already seen all this. This is literally what I'm seeing now.
Fourth
Max
place.
Verstappen goes first. He goes on to P1. He beats George Russell. George Russell, though, on the front row for a Williams.
George Russell on the front row of the grid.
Danny Rick fourth.
Ricardo's gone fourth as well.
Fair play, Ricardo. Gasly beats Perez and Bottas. Bottas with an awful qualifying. He could well end up 9th for you. Ocon and Ricardo still need to do across the line, but you said Ricardo's gone to 4th.
I think he had, yeah.
Yeah, Ricardo's just gone to 4th on mine. What about Esteban Ocon? Where's he? He's not crossed the line on mine yet.
Oh, my.
Right. God. Okay, so yeah, we just waxed lyrical about George Russell, but he is
Ocon there he is delivering on cue.
George Russell has just pulled out one of the best qualifying laps in the history of Formula One. He is beaten. He's in the 8th best car on a good day.
How has he put that Williams on the front row?
They say that the wet weather's a talent leveler. You know, it's where the real stars shine. That is a Senna in Monaco 1984-esque performance. That is ridiculous. Williams on the front row, probably for the first time since Maldonado took pole in 2012. 2014 for Austria, weren't it? I just remembered.
At the front row, of course.
Oh my goodness me.
Okay, so do you want a full rundown of the order then?
Yeah, let's do it for the listeners. Take it ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so pole position goes to Max Verstappen. George Russell will be second on the grid, 3/10 behind in qualifying. Hamilton third, also 3/10 behind Verstappen. Ricardo in 4th, a second off of Verstappen. Vettel up to 5th. Gasly 6th. Perez 7th. Bottas 8th. 13th with his grid penalty. Ocon 9th and will start 8th. Norris 10th because he crashed, and possibly a pit lane start.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So that's your Q3 result.
I've got to keep talking because we're live right here, but this is unprecedented. This is just something else. And the thing is, as well, starting second in Spa is arguably better than starting first because you get the slipstream. We could have a Williams leading after
George Russell is going to be leading out of Lecom. You heard it here first.
It could happen. It could absolutely happen.
I mean, I don't know how good the Williams is in a straight line, but you know, the power of the slipstream is just unreal up there. And we saw what happened in 2018 with the 4 wide and the 2 racing points about to gazump Hamilton and Vettel at Lecom. So it could happen. And George, your Daniel Ricciardo on the podium prediction is looking pretty solid right now.
It's looking pretty good, especially considering there's a Williams ahead of him. So yeah. For those that don't know, I went on Aaron's show, Aaron's preview show, and we basically had a bet that if Ricardo finishes on the podium, Aaron has to do a shoey. If he does not finish on the podium, then I have to do a shoey. But obviously, if he crashes out, we have that disclaimer. If he crashes out, then neither of us have to do it, and potentially it continues.
So rolls over.
It rolls over indeed.
I'm in disbelief.
It's one of the things that you just look at and you think, how's that happen? How the hell did that Williams get there? How the hell did he get into second place?
Yeah.
So yeah, George Russell, unbelievable. That if that is not the proof as to why he needs to be in the top car, why he deserves to be in the Mercedes next year, I don't know what is. I don't know what else he has to do, because the guy he's going to replace is down in eighth in a far superior car. Oh, right, take a breath, lads. So yes, Max Verstappen, great by him. Fair play to him. He got pole position. He's exactly where he needs to be, Tom, tomorrow to kickstart his championship challenge again, to try and swing the momentum back in his favour.
Sorry, I got so much going on.
Just saying, great for Max Verstappen to get on pole.
Yeah. Sorry, I feel like I'm on a bit of a come down. Really, really good for Verstappen, and given he's not got Hamilton directly almost alongside him, given Hamilton's on the second row, not the front row, it's good for the championship. It's good for the battle between those two. Obviously, Aaron, as you mentioned, George Russell perhaps leading into through that source. We could see it, and then we could be in for a titanic battle tomorrow between Hamilton and Verstappen, David and Goliath, and all that.
Yeah, I think we also have to remember that because Verstappen's on pole, Hamilton is directly behind him. So if Hamilton gets ahead of Russell, then it's game on down to Leclerc, and those two are going to be wheel to wheel. And you could have a similar sort of picture to the 91 Spanish Grand Prix of Senna and Mansell down to the chicane there, where they're almost touching and neither one wants to give an inch, and it's going to be who's bravest on the brakes. There's so many potential scenarios, and think about it this way: Bottas might be in 13th, but technically Mercedes do still have two drivers up at the front to sandwich Verstappen.
It's very true. It's very true. I think Toto Wolff will be having more than one word in Russell's ear tonight. But yeah, fair play to Verstappen. He's done all he can. He's in pole position. Lewis Hamilton will be disappointed to be third, but he is up there. That's the key thing. And another guy that's up there is Daniel Ricciardo. We mentioned him. He's up in fourth place. He's had a hard time this season, to say the least. But after Lando Norris has crashed, he's picked up the gauntlet from McLaren, and he's got fourth place. Fair play to the guy, Aaron. I think that's an excellent qualifying by him. And
like we were saying earlier, you have to time your runs well. I think Daniel timed his run perfectly. He was one of the last over the line. I don't know how much rain was falling, because looking at it now, it's pretty heavy rainfall. But regardless of that, he's delivered a brilliant lap time, a lap time that we know he's capable of, and given his tricky season, one that actually surprises us a little bit. But we shouldn't be surprised, because this is what Daniel Ricciardo is capable of. He's an excellent qualifier. He's got multiple pole positions, and if you give him a car that's capable of it, he'll get really good grid slots and maybe even more pole positions for McLaren.
Absolutely, and this is a track where he has won at in the past as well. He's very good round Spa. And fifth place as well. I mean, he was the first one to come up to the scene of Norris's accident, but he recomposed himself. He got out there and he produced an excellent qualifying lap. Fifth place, it is Sebastian Vettel, Tom. And again, a great day for him, great qualifying. Potentially, if he has a good start tomorrow, maybe another podium on the cards for Aston Martin.
Yeah, very good drive by Vettel today. He certainly mastered that car in the way it would seem. And also, it was nice to see him, checking on Norris and just make sure he's okay. It made me think of when Senna saw Eric Comas crash, and obviously when Comas was knocked out, his foot was stuck in the accelerator. Obviously, it's a different, slightly different type of accident. But the point is, it goes to show that whilst they, all these drivers are fierce rivals on track, they do care for each other, and they do want to make sure that they are okay when they see an accident like this. Especially given, like we mentioned, the history of that corner. But yeah, Vettel, fifth, decent start. Aston looked a bit better today as well. It might not seem that way, obviously, with Stroll only starting 15th. and will then obviously be back at the grid with the grid place, like you said. But yeah, Vettel could be on for some good good points tomorrow. Aaron, you're not going to like me saying this, but there's a good chance they'll get ahead of George Russell as well.
I think that is likely to happen. But then if it rains, anything's possible.
Like we've just seen.
Yeah, like we've just
and
seen. Williams on the front row.
Vettel's strong in the wet, so don't write him off of winning the race, especially if Hamilton and Verstappen are banging wheels. He's in a great position to collect a really good amount of points that will then sort of minimize some of the damage caused by his disqualification in Hungary, which kind of was slam dunk. But this is the perfect response. He's responded like a champion.
Yeah, like the 4-time world champion he is, and hopefully Aston Martin put enough fuel in his car this time to finish the race. Another guy, again, he's always up there. He's always performing well. He's so consistent. Pierre Gasly, Tom, up in 6th. He's always there or thereabouts, isn't he? And again, another guy who could, if the circumstances dictate it, get a podium tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, how many times has Gasly qualified and finished P6 this year? He has been so consistent with that P6, which is probably about as much as you could ask for from that AlphaTauri, because even if it was quicker than a Red Bull, I doubt Red Bull would actually let him go past. Let's be fair. We all know what Helmut Marko's like. But yeah, another good weekend. Obviously, it's 2 years ago this weekend that he returned to the then Toro Rosso, now AlphaTauri team. He's just gone from strength to strength to strength ever since he's been back. So yeah. So again, if things go his way in front of him, he could maybe well be right up there onto the onto one of those steps of the podium.
Absolutely. He's done it before. I think he did it in Baku this year as well. So the guy's always there or thereabouts. Sergio Perez, though, Aaron, not the weekend he would have wanted. I think at the time his run not the best, to be fair, but still 7th in a Red Bull when your teammates getting pole. It's not too great.
No, it's not. And especially on the same weekend that they've just given you a new contract for next year. That's not really what they were hoping for. They'd have expected Sergio to be sort of around where Ricardo is and ahead of Gasly. The only thing that Sergio can cling to is point the finger at Bottas and say, I beat him. But that's more consolation.
That's not saying much, is it?
No, it's not.
I don't think he'd say that to Marco. I don't think that would work, to be honest.
No, that wouldn't really work. But I don't really recall Sergio ever really being a strong, wet weather driver consistently. And then you couple in the fact that he's generally not the strongest qualifier. His race pace, wet or dry, generally tends to be a lot better. So he might come through from there. He might be able to manage the tyres and, keep them alive a little bit longer or whatever needs to happen. The thing that will catch him out is if they go from wets to dries and he's not able to fire the slicks up quickly enough and generate the tyre temperature to move forward in the race from there. But P7 is not the qualifying he was looking for.
No, not the qualifying he was looking for. Not a disaster by any means in the circumstances. I mean, obviously, Bottas he qualified behind him and he'll start even further back. We'll talk a little bit about him as well now, Tom. I mean, it's not what he wants. It's 8th place. It's 13th place with his penalty. He's going to be well down there. And as we've seen before in places like Baku, even though he's got a really fast car, he does struggle to get through traffic.
Yeah, I mean, part of that will be, now to coin an infamous phrase that seems to be associated with Mercedes, it's the car. But that Mercedes, especially last year, was designed to, it was built to be at the front because it wasn't expecting to have to work his way through traffic. And this year, I think there is an extension of that. But yeah, how dare I? Bottas, P8, it goes to show what I'm thinking, doesn't it? Bottas, P8, just absolutely nowhere. Wasn't even in the same bloody continent as Hamilton this weekend. Let alone the guy who has been long touted to take his seat. Now, there are strong rumours going around now, and someone sent it to me earlier that apparently Crofty mentioned that at where we go next, Monza, that Kimi is going to announce his retirement, Bottas is moving to Alpha, and Russell is moving to Mercedes. Obviously, these are only rumours, and obviously we heard there was going to be Silverstone, we heard it was going to be during the summer break, and we heard it was going to be after the summer break, but there's no smoke without fire. And these rumours of Bottas going to Alpha are getting stronger and stronger and stronger. So that could be on the cards. And Russell has done everything and more that you could have expected of him. And Bottas, well, I think the writing's on the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it has been for some time, hasn't it, to be fair? This is not a new development. It's been rumoured for years now. But yeah,
I think for Bottas, qualifying P8 is a bad day at the office. But qualifying P8 when your seat's under pressure and the guy qualifying second is the guy who's looking at taking your seat, that's a nightmare. And he's going to want to try and wake up from this, but then he'll realise it's actually his birthday.
Yeah.
I didn't quite realise it was his birthday as well. Yeah, no, a very bad day.
What a birthday present.
Yeah. What a day at the office.
Yeah.
That's a slap in the face. That is not what you want. Very bad day for Bottas with that indeed. And we'll get on to the last guy who we're going to cover. We've mentioned that Lando Norris is going to be 10th. Again, thank God he's all right. Horrible crash. Hope he takes the race tomorrow. Hope his car's not too badly damaged that he has to replace it all, but looking at it, that's probably going to happen. But we'll mention the guy who was a 9.5 race winner from Hungary, Esteban Ocon. A good day at the office, really, Aaron. He's beat his teammate. He's in the top 10. If he has a good race tomorrow, he should bring on some points for Alpine.
I think it shows the power of confidence and momentum in Formula One, doesn't it? Because we'd have all fancied Fernando Alonso to be qualifying in the top 10 in a wet qualifying session. And there's Esteban popping himself into P9 in an Alpine that probably, in these sort of conditions, shouldn't be there. They've not really been pulling up any trees over the weekend. And I made some notes. In Q1, they were 14th and 15th. So for Esteban to get through to Q3 is a great achievement. And I think that shows where he's at in terms of his confidence now. He's walking a little bit taller. He's a bit more confident in the car. Obviously, they changed the chassis, so he's feeling a little bit more comfortable with the actual drive and the handling of it. So everything's coming up Esteban at the moment. And on the same weekend, Alonso confirmed that he's staying around for next year. So that's a good start for Esteban. A line in the sand for 2022.
Absolutely, yeah. Alonso now confirmed to be staying at Alpine. It was probably going to happen anyway, let's be honest here, but it is 100% confirmed for next year. I will mention as well, because I think just George Russell getting on the front row is not for 6th for a bit. I don't think I've mentioned that if you leave us a 5-star review on iTunes, you get to have a shout out at the start of the show. A lot of people have done that, and it's really helping us in the rankings, really helping our downloads, which is just fantastic. Do I really have to ask who the driver of qualifying is? The Mr. Saturday. It's got to be Mr. Saturday himself for all three of us, surely. You can't do better than that.
I don't know. I'm pretty impressed with Bottas. Russell.
I think
P2 in the Williams in the wet.
Yeah, Russell is the clear candidate for that. But I don't think you can discount the quality of Ricardo's lap, considering where he's been this year. That is, if that had been Norris sticking at P4, we'd have all been saying great lap, star of the season, and yet Lando's, through no fault of his own, in the wall, and Ricardo's there to pick up the pieces and deliver a quality lap when needed. So I think that's a strong second place shout for Daniel Rick.
Yeah, Ricardo doing an excellent job this weekend so far, absolutely. But yeah, Russell, the star of the day.
Yeah,
it's unreal.
I'm going to counter the Danny Rick argument a bit, because he wasn't really anywhere until his last run when he came P5.
Yeah, that's true.
He was always skin of his teeth, and his teammate topped both sessions, Q1 and Q2.
Yeah.
The Williams did well in every session, as did Vettel. Vettel did well in every session. Yes, obviously, ultimately, Danny Rick is fifth, and that is a good result, but that's also what you'd expect from someone of his caliber in the McLaren. So
yeah, it just makes you wonder where it's been all season. And obviously, his struggles have been documented.
Yeah, and the media spotlight, I say that as we're sitting here talking about him, isn't necessarily going to help. And I do hope that he can sort of like get into a groove. But we saw this with him at Renault. First year, not brilliant. Second year, a lot better.
Yeah.
And obviously next year, new cars, different philosophy. We'll see.
Fingers crossed for him.
Absolutely.
Yeah. He could well improve next year. I expect him to improve a lot next year. He's a very talented driver. We all know how much we like him on the show as well. I'll let you guys plug as well. I've mentioned you both on your different podcasts. So I'll start with you, Aaron. You are the 5 Red Lights podcast, really. You do it yourself. And but where can people find that and what's it all about?
So it's found on YouTube. Just Google, just YouTube, search 5 Red Lights. We do previews. So you were on the preview this week. And we do slightly different previews. I tend to stay away from the detailed previews that I was part of with you guys on Monday. So we do a slightly different look at the weekend, and then we do a race review. We do 5 things that were great about a weekend and 5 things that sucked. A driver of the month vote, and lots of other stuff in between.
Good stuff. Yeah, definitely check out Aaron on the 5 Red Lights podcast on YouTube. It's a lot of fun to listen to, and obviously a real variety of different videos on there too. Tom, I mentioned that you're part of the EF1 podcast. Where is that, and where can people find it?
Yeah, so the Everything F1 podcast, you can find us on all your sort of usual podcasting platforms, so Spotify, iTunes, and also linked through our website, which is everythingf1.com. Also, our handle, if you like, for most social media outlets is at joinef1, where we are on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. We also have an Instagram group with over 6,500 members, which is the Everything F1 paddock. We welcome all teams, all drivers, everyone, and also we have a Discord server which is continuing to grow. Oh, and I should mention our YouTube channel, which is currently really beginning to pick itself up.
That's fantastic. Yeah, definitely check those guys out. They have some fantastic guests on, and even I was on one as well a while ago. So
best guest we've ever had, George.
I'm not even close. You guys have got some amazing guests on. Fair play to you. I'm amazed you managed to get all those guys on. So yeah, our YouTube channel as well is doing very well. We're closing in on some 200 subscribers now. Do check out F1 Grid Talk on there. Just search for the F1 Grid Talk for the channel, and yeah, you'll be able to catch these shows live as they go out. And in this case, even before the qualifying session ends, we were still here. We were commentating, waiting for it to end. It did thankfully get going. And yeah, we have a pole sitter in Max Verstappen and a front row for George Russell and the Williams. It's just unreal. We are also available on the F1 Chronicles website, f1chronicle.com, as well as Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, Verbal, Omni Studio, and Pocket Cast. Just search for the F1 Grid Talk and all those to like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. Check out our back catalogue of shows as well. Over 100 episodes now for you to get through, including documentary-style episodes like Ayrton Senna, Tiregate, the 1994 Benetton Conspiracy, as well as our regular previews, qualifying analysis, and race reviews. And we will be back tomorrow on Sunday from 5 p.m. BST to review the Belgian Grand Prix. If this qualifying session was anything to go by, it's going to be a special one. Thank you all for joining us, everybody. See you for that, and goodbye.
Bye.
Right. Well, I would love to stick around for a little post show. Thanks everybody who's joined us live on YouTube, but I need to get going.
Yeah.
But thank you for coming on so fast like this, lad.
That's right.
Really just get messed around with the red flags, but what do you do?
Yeah. I just want to say that Toto's going to be interviewed by Sky. He has got one hell of a smile on his face.
That indicates the decision he's made with his drivers for next year, I think, hasn't it?
Take from that what you will.
Yeah, he's obviously a lot happier for Russell than he is angry at Bottas. So there we go.
Yeah.
Right, lads. Thanks for coming on. I'll see you for the next one.
No problem.
Yeah.
Take care, lads.